I won't beat around the bush here. Harvest Moon Friends of Mineral Town is my favourite game in the series and was an absolute time sink for me as I was growing up, so you can imagine how stoked I was hearing that the game was getting a remake under the Story of Seasons name. Please note that Story of Seasons is the title the Marvelous developed games are going with, since their old publisher Natsume own the rights to the Harvest Moon name and are making their own games under that title. For transparency, a copy of the game was provided to me courtesy of a PR network. In Friends of Mineral Town, you can play as a male or female character you can name, who has received a letter from Thomas, the mayor of Mineral Town. After reading the letter, you pack your things and go to your grandfather's old farm on the outskirts of town. After arriving, you find the farm in a poor state, and Thomas explains that your grandfather had passed away and had left his farm to you. You then have a flashback of a summer you had spent on the farm as a child, playing with the animals, going fishing, and having fun with another kid, and you decide to live on the farm and restore it to its former glory. Thus, your slow life in Mineral Town begins. Like most of the games in the Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons series, the main attraction to the game is growing crops, raising animals, and getting to know the residents of Mineral Town, perhaps finding that special someone along the way to spend the rest of your days with. As a first in the series, and a move approved by Marvelous Japan, the game also allows same-sex marriages, which I know to some people is a welcome addition. The visuals have been overhauled, with characters getting updated designs by Igusa Matsuyama, who also designed the original characters. The script has also been revised because, let's face it, Friends of Mineral Town on the Gameboy Advance had enough spelling and punctuation errors to give English teachers nightmares. But is this remake up to the task? And more importantly, is it any good? Find out in The Good. Story of Seasons Friends of Mineral Town I found stays strictly true to its source material. As I mentioned earlier, the script has been updated and tidied up, and events and secrets from the original are left intact for the most part. The game does offer a difficulty setting for newer players to enjoy the game by making it easier to befriend the townsfolk, as well as having you begin with more money and some turnips all set to ship out. Your crops in this easier mode also ship for more money. The normal difficulty starts you off exactly the same way as you would have in the original game. You also get a choice between the redesigned main characters, or if you preferred playing as traditional Pete or Claire, you can go with the classic look as well. Residents in the village retain their preferences when it comes to gifts, and if you remember all the secrets like throwing a cucumber into the lake each day to befriend the kappa, or a crop into the spring by the mine to befriend the harvest goddess, then you'll be set in knowing what you need to expect. If you're struggling to get everything done during the day, you can also befriend the harvest sprites behind the church, and they can help you with your daily chores, and while they start off fairly inexperienced, they will get better the more they do it. You can also play games with them to improve how they'll do those chores. Permanent events such as Cliff moving out if you don't help him settle into Mineral Town, or losing your horse if you neglect it for the first year are still there, and serves as reminders of what could happen if you shirk some of your duties. You also have rivals when it comes to wooing your love interests, and if certain events play out, some of the bachelors will get together with the bachelorettes. The sense of nostalgia and faithfulness that the game has to the original is outstanding and exceeded my expectations. The new changes to the game I also welcomed. The game features some quality of life updates such as the stamina and fatigue indicators represented in the top left corner as opposed to being invisible, and for you to water all of your crops instead of being unable to access the one that's in the middle until you upgrade your watering can. Your stamina can be increased by obtaining power berries, and your fatigue can be improved by that method I mentioned earlier about throwing cucumbers into the lake. The game also features more animals over the original such as Angora rabbits, alpacas, and different varieties of cows and chickens, with the different cows producing different types of milk. Affection levels for animals have also been revised. Bought animals have a smaller affection limit which impacts on the quality of produce you get from them, so the game encourages you to breed your animals to have stock with a higher affection limit. The more you breed the animal, the higher the limit gets. Bred animals also start off with a higher starting affection level too. You also have different pets to choose from, and befriending Van, a character from A Wonderful Life, is required to do this. You can meet Van by continuously offering props to the harvest goddess until he introduces himself one day. The home shopping channel of the original is gone in favour of getting new items through the supermarket and from the carpenter. Befriending people is also an easy way for you to obtain recipes, which will become an absolute godsend when you start exploring the mines in depth, and it always pays to check your TV for new recipes. The game also introduces a new bachelor and bachelorette with Brandon and Jennifer, and the game introduces a dating mechanic in which you can date your love interests prior to marrying them. This also introduces new romance events as an incentive. You can date multiple characters in order to see the events, but you can only have one wife or husband. The game's music has been updated as well, so the new music sounds fresh yet familiar to those who have played the original. I also enjoyed the cast of characters available in the game. As I mentioned earlier, the townsfolk all received updated designs by the original character designer, and personally, while it did take me a little bit to get used to the updated designs, having grown up with the older designs through multiple games, I ultimately did grow to like them, and with some characters I would go as far as saying that I prefer their new look over their old one. Though in saying that, there were some where I preferred the old design. You can stumble across events between townsfolk as you get to know them better, and you can sort of gather that there's more depth to them than meets the eye, and you can pick up on some of these things, such as Mana complaining about her husband Duke drinking too much and racking up a huge tab at the supermarket, to Rick arguing with his sister Potpourri over their dad making their sickly mother worried, to name a couple of examples. In regards to the love interests, you can see how they grow as characters as you get to know them better, and as with every game in the series, I feel like I'm a little part of their town by talking to them and interacting with them. As much as I love this game though, I do have to bring up a minor gripe which we can explore in the bad. The funny thing about this is that my issue is based off an optional method of playing the game, so you know I'm trying to grasp for straws here. The best way to get ahead in this game is through, you guessed it, save scumming, which is the process of reloading a save until the outcome favours you. You can do this to cheese the competitions and festivals, as well as have the horse races go in your favour, leading you to get items which you can ship for huge amounts of money. But where it's used the most, and I think it's almost required to do so, is when it comes to exploring the mines. Once you upgrade all your tools of Mithril, there is a chance in the lake mine to find cursed tools which are stronger, but will get bound to you when you equip them, forcing you to find a way to lift the curse. Breaking the curse of the tools are required to find mythic ore to upgrade them and make them even stronger. The thing is, the cursed tools are only available on certain floors, and they're not 100% guaranteed to be there. Same with other items that appear on certain floors in both mines. You're also rewarded if you reach the bottom of the spring mine, and there's 255 floors to go through in each mine. Ladders are found randomly on each level, and some will have pitfalls which may drop you down multiple floors at the cost of your stamina and fatigue, so keeping a good supply of food is essential, but you'll find as you near the bottom or reach floors of items that save scumming becomes very handy if you don't want to waste hours doing it again, and the lake mine is only open in winter when the lake freezes over. It is possible to get a teleport stone to go there any time in the year, but that requires you to reach the bottom of the spring mine sometime after year 3. You can find another reward hidden at the bottom of the spring mine, but after getting it, I wonder if it was worth it. Then again, I played the original, and although the reward was a little bit different, it's still in the same category, and I was half expecting it. Aside from that, there wasn't anything else I didn't like about the game, so let's wrap it up with the opinion. As you could have probably guessed at the beginning, I absolutely love this game. They took my favourite game in the series and updated it with quality of life improvements, while keeping the charms that made the original so dear to me. I feel that this is the definitive version of the game to play, and now sits at the top of my list of favourite Harvest Moon / Story of Seasons games as an alternative to the original. My only long-winded gripe was on an optional way of cheesing the game, so to me, Story of Seasons Friends of Mineral Town would be a game I would recommend to both newcomers to the series wanting a chill and laid-back farming simulator, and veterans alike, and it sets a high bar for the series going forward. So with that, it's time for my rating. I would give Story of Seasons Friends of Mineral Town a giant platinum turnip out of 10. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next Infinite Backlog review. If you enjoyed today's review, feel free to check out some of our other videos and subscribe for more. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram and our Facebook page. Once again, thank you for watching.